Hello and welcome to the University of Scranton City Council interviews for the May 20th, 2025 primary election. We're joined now by Tom Schuster, who is running to be one of the Democratic nominees for Scranton City Council. Thanks for joining us, Tom.
Thank you very much, JoyAnna.
Great. So our first question here. This year there will be 3 open seats for Scranton City Council where members serve 4-year terms. At the end of a 4-year term, what would you like to say you were able to accomplish for the residents of Scranton?
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to first state by saying that I'm the only incumbent on the ballot currently, so I'm going to start by saying some of the things that I've already done. I got on City Council. I was given an appointment in 2020, and I ran for re-election in 2021. 2021 and 2022, we extensively amended the city budget. I came into the 21 campaign with the priority of proactively looking at the budget to not have to raise taxes in the future. And I could say I looked back at some of the articles where I was stated by saying that was a campaign promise, and I'd say I did follow up on that promise. In 2021, we extensively amended the budget with over 100 amendments to curtail expenditures. In 2022, we did the same. 2023, we also had some amendments, and in the 2023 and 2024 years, there was tax increases that were recommended, and council was able to bring both of those years back. We scaled back the 2023 tax increase from 3% to 2% and a 3.1 in 2024 down as well. I actually voted against both of those tax increases because they tended to increase administrative salaries and things of that nature, expand departments that could be working more efficiently elsewhere. So I did have some proactive measures on those budgets, but got those tax increases down. When we got to 2021, a lot of the amendments that council had passed got us to a point that in the 2025 budget, we did not have to raise taxes this year. So with that high county increase, the city was able to say that we don't have to raise taxes because of the work that council had done. Looking into the future, 3 of the areas that I'd like to focus on would be pave cuts. So since I started, pave cuts were an issue. The DPW director at the time didn't have a bead on those pave cuts. And right now we have a current condition of the roads. We've gone through several different pave cut inspectors, and from pressure from me, the administration has now gone a different route as of January. So we're 5 months into pave cuts with the new system in place. I'm going to stay on top of that to make sure the condition of our roads is getting better. We have to look into blight and revitalization of neighborhoods because neighborhoods are on the back burner. Currently, we're 5 years into a NeighborWorks plan in West Scranton, and the neighborhood still looks the same. So we need to get focus on blight by pushing code enforcement and blight and inspections to address our neighborhoods. And the last thing is safety. It took the shooting of Detective Kyle.
Can I ask you one question about blight related to housing? So one of the other questions that we have actually relates to rising concerns about housing affordability, aging infrastructure, and the availability of quality rental units. And so in addition to talking a little bit more about blight, what specific policies would you propose to ensure access to safe, affordable housing for both renters and home buyers?
So when we're looking at blight, we have 2 departments. We have the code enforcement department and we have rental registration. Both of these departments inspect housing to make sure they're safe, to make sure they're up to building standards. We have to use these departments to make sure that we're addressing our current stock of housing. So if we're using these 2 departments to make sure that we have clean, affordable housing, we're going to maintain that current stock of housing while development climate in the city where private contractors and private developers can also increase that base of those. And as I said, with blight, if we're focusing on those neighborhoods, we're improving the conditions of the neighborhoods, which could also go into safety. And as I was saying in the previous question, my last focus would be on safety. Right now, the district attorney is doing a good job with coordinating with state police, Scranton police, to take guns and drugs off the streets. We need to continue to do that. Because safety is an issue and it's a concern that I hear. It took the shooting of one of our officers, Detective Kyle Gilmartin, to get crime and safety on the forefront, and I do think that the city needs to continue to collaborate with the district attorney and state police.
Thank you. Recently, the federal government has taken efforts to drastically downsize or eliminate certain agencies and programs, some of which are likely to affect the city's own policies and programs. How do you plan to address these potential changes in funding and support?
As I said, my stance has always been a proactive stance when it comes to the budget. Right now, we have exited Act 47. Our finances are looking a little bit better, so keeping our financial house in order is priority one. But right now, we have different leadership on the state and the federal levels, and possibly reaching out across the aisle. I have received phone calls from some of those individuals that said they are willing to help the city with what it needs. And I think maintaining some of those funding sources that were there in the past needs to be a priority, and I do think some of those individuals are on board to do that.
Great, thank you. Over the past several years, Scranton residents have expressed concerns about the rising cost of utilities. This includes this year's UGI proposed rate increase ranging from 7.5% to 11% for natural gas customers. As a member of City Council, how would you address residents' concerns about rising utility costs?
Well, Scranton City Council was the first body to speak about and address the increase with the water rates. That we were able to meet with our state representatives, senators, to get a hearing here. Two of the hearings ended up happening in the city of Scranton. In the end, the rate increase was reduced, however, not to, all of our liking. But council was the first body to push for some of those hearings and to address that. And with the current gas increase, we have done the same. The hearings ended up being in Wilkes-Barre, but other members of council were really on the forefront of that, and council did its job to step to the plate and to fight for the residents with the utility increases. So we'll continue to do that.
As Scranton continues to grow and change, zoning policies play a key role in shaping the city's future. How would you approach updating the city's zoning code to support goals like economic development, housing availability, and neighborhood character, while ensuring that community voices are part of that process?
Well, I'm glad that you said that one. I was part of the 2023 zoning ordinance, so it did pass in 2023. That ordinance sat on the table for about a year and a half before it came in front of council for final approval. I was the only council member to make amendments to that zoning ordinance. I made amendments for areas in Kaiser Valley. I made amendments for areas in the East Mountain section. I made amendments for Hill section. When I'm making those amendments, it came from the citizens. So citizens reached out to me. They had issues with the zoning in their neighborhoods. They felt that some things weren't being addressed that may have been a blind spot to the writers of that ordinance. And I fought for those neighborhoods and brought it to council, gained the support of my colleagues, and actually amended the 2023 ordinance. It still needs to be looked at. Right now it's been 2 years since the zoning board has the ordinance in front of them. They're working through hearings, and they're finding blind spots, they're finding gray areas that need to be adjusted. We brought, at my request, some zoning board members into caucus with City Council to express their concerns. They've identified several concerns. Apartment size has been decreased. 1.5 parking spaces for multiple unit homes has been decreased to 1. And the short-term rental, the whole section, they'd like to take a look at. So we've brought the zoning board into council chambers. We've met with them, and then some council members and our solicitor have gone to the zoning board to further discuss some changes that may need to be amended in that ordinance. But we are currently addressing those, and we're going to continue in the future to address those.
Great, thank you. Much of Scranton's infrastructure, from roads and sidewalks to water and sewer systems, is aging and in need of repair. Given budget constraints and competing priorities, how would you identify and fund the most urgent infrastructure needs while ensuring long-term resilience and access across neighborhoods?
Well, that also is in motion. One of the greatest needs in the city was, after the sale of the sewer authority, the city is taking on stormwater. So that was something that the city needed to take over, and we've put $24 million into stormwater improvements across the city. Kaiser Valley, North Scranton, Trip Park area, Manuka, North Scranton. But $24 million are going into stormwater, which needs to be addressed because we are taking it on. And there was a park study. There's a lot of money going into park improvements. That study was done with a previous mayor, but it was completed in 2021, 2022. So we're We're doing park improvements in all area codes and zip codes in the city. So neighbors are going to see those improvements in their community.
With the time we have remaining, what else would you like the voters to keep in mind when they head to the polls on Tuesday, May 20th?
When you head to the polls, now, would you like this to be my closing statement?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
All right, so for my closing statement. I don't have any frills, I don't have any bells and whistles. I came into council with the sole focus of improving city finances. We've since exited Act 47, we're in a better financial state, and we're seeing our bond ratings improve. This goes a lot to, addressing all of the issues that we discussed. If we have a sound financial health, we could improve quality, we can improve blight, we can improve safety, we can improve these things. So top priority going in or coming into the May 20th election is always going to be finances. I'm always going to make sure that our finances are healthy, and I want to continue to provide for our safety unions, the police department, the fire department, DPW, and clerical, making sure that they have what they need to provide the services for the residents of this city, because that's what the citizens of the city pay taxes for. And the last thing, we do need to get more into our neighborhoods. We need to address blight. We need to increase some demolition line items so we could look to demo some more of our condemned houses. But I'd like the people out there to know that I'm an educated candidate. I have a bachelor's degree from Penn State University. I have a master's degree from St. Joseph's University. I am the most experienced candidate on the ballot on May 20th. I have 1 year on the Scranton Planning Commission from 2014 to 2015. I was a member of the Scranton School Board from 2015 to 2020, and in some of the dire days of the Scranton School District, when I got on there was $34 million in debt, and we saw the district through recovery, and the district has exited recovery, and I've spent the last 5 years on City Council from 2020 to 2025. I have a consistent record of being an independent voice on council. I always stand my ground. I always ask the questions needed to be transparent and make sure that the citizens know what's occurring in the city. And I humbly ask for your vote on May 20th.
Great, thank you, Tom. Thank you for joining us today. Again, Tom Schuster is running for to be one of the Democratic nominees for the Scranton City Council. Please remember to vote on Tuesday, May 20th.